In this edition of In the Trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics, it's time for Keys to the Game. This isn't any game. This is Super Bowl 56. But the keys are going to be ABCs, the basics. Do what got you there. That's going to be for the players and for us. That's the first key. For the players, don't try to be a hero. Don't try to do too much. Do your job. Do your 1/11th. There are 11 offensive players, 11 defensive players, 11 players on special teams. Do what you're supposed to do. Don't try to do any more than that. Do what you're supposed to do to the best of your ability, just like you've done it all year long. I know there's a lot of hype. I mean, it's international hype. It's crazy. I understand that. But when the ball kicks off, it's going to be like, this is just like it was in high school. That first hit is going to feel like the first hit you've had in any other football game. It's just football. Don't make it bigger than that. Enjoy yourself. Relax. Have fun. Enjoy the experience. Don't let the experience get you tensed up. Get it done. Be what you were all season long. Don't feel like you have to create something new. So that's what we're going to do with keys. The first key, turnovers. Come on now. We know that's important in any football game. It's important in Pee Wee football. It's important in high school football. It's important in college football. And every game in the NFL is determined, win or lost, big time, by taking care of the football or not. In the Super Bowl, it's bigger. Every turnover is magnified. I can speak from experience. Super Bowl 16, we lost the football game because we couldn't hold on to the football. We turned the football over. The San Francisco 49ers, we outgained them. We had more yards than the San Francisco 49ers. It was the first Super Bowl that the losing team outgained the winning team. Why? Turnovers, giveaways. It just outdid, it basically undid everything. I mean, it was sad. It was sad. The self-destruction was way too much. Turned it over 4 times. 49ers turned it over once. You go -3, you're going to lose that football game 99.9% of the time. And we lost the most important football game of our lives. Add in a goal line stand. Man, huge. That's 5 giveaways. We went -4 because that possession ended without a kick. No punt, field goal, extra point. That was like another giveaway. During the course of that goal line stand, 4 snaps, 3 plays, there were mental errors. Self-destruction can occur multiple ways. Turnovers, mental errors, 3 of the 4 plays, assignment mistake was made at the point of attack at a very, very crucial area of the play. Can't have that happen. Have to understand what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to do it, go out and execute it. You cannot have mental errors in the Super Bowl. Keep it simple. Don't make the game plan so difficult that players are unsure. Have to go to the line of scrimmage knowing exactly what you're going to do, how you're supposed to do it, and get it done. And then finally, penalties. You can't, you just can't go out there and have false start penalties, line up offsides. Pre-snap penalties are unacceptable. You also have to trust your technique. If you're a defensive back, if you're chucking, if you're rerouting at the line of scrimmage, don't get your hands outside. Don't grab. Offensive lineman, don't get your hands outside. Don't grab. Keep your hands inside and minimize the contact. Trust your technique. Snap after snap after snap. So when I say turnovers, I'm including a big, big area of category. So I'm talking about turnovers, I'm talking about penalties, and I'm talking about mental mistakes. Those things cannot happen in the biggest football game of your life. Go out there, enjoy it, have fun, and finalize the experience. That's what it's all about. Honestly, I think the most major key to success in the Super Bowl is handling all the elements leading up to the Super Bowl. The week before, there's 2 weeks between the championship game and the Super Bowl. And the biggest deal that you have to handle is logistics of family family tickets to the Super Bowl, family transportation to the Super Bowl, family hotel to the Super Bowl. All those things are they can build and create pressure. They can cause you some angst. There's no question about it. One family member might not be happy with the location of their seats. Another family member might not like their hotel room. Another family member wants a different flight. I mean, all of that stuff, it's just human nature. It's humans dealing with human beings. That first week is getting all of those logistics taken care of. So when you get to the Super Bowl site, you can just have a laser focus on the game of football. So a massive key is taking care of all of that sort of thing that leads up to Super Bowl week and travel to the Super Bowl. And then on the game itself, handle the pregame. I remember going out there in Super Bowl 16, pregame, sitting down with the offensive line on the bench and looking at all the people coming in, and the place was packed. Like an hour and a half before the game, the place was full. The Silverdome's jammed. I'm like, this is a big game. I start getting an adrenaline rush. And I'm like, come on now. It's too early. Don't overdo it. Keep your poise, keep your composure. I had 2 strong adrenaline rushes before the game even started. And I'm thinking, am I going to get another one? And I got a huge one for the game. It's like you feel like you can pick the stadium up. I was so tired after that Super Bowl, and it was because of all the adrenaline rushes. So handling that, keeping your poise, keeping your composure, don't do too much in warm-ups. Just do what you've done. You don't have to do anything special because it's the Super Bowl. How you've warmed up for every football game in your life is how you warm up for the Super Bowl. Don't overthink it. Don't think it's more than it is. It's a football game. It's a big football game, but it's a football game. The other thing at halftime, and it's even more so now, but the halftime even in Super Bowl 16 was longer. The NFL has more sponsors. They're all paying big dollars. They all get halftime ads in the Super Bowl. And you're sitting there in the locker room thinking, when are we going to go back out there and play football? You feel like you almost have to go out there and stretch again. In fact, a lot of guys were going through that pregame routine in the locker room, stretching, getting ready to go out to play the second half of the football game. So the Super Bowl has some uniqueness to it, and you have to handle things, and that's going to be a big factor in who really experiences the greatest success. And like we talked about before, fortunately for the Rams, I mean, it's a home game for them. That is a huge deal. I think the NFL has to address it. That's 2 years in a row now. It never happened before. Last year, Tampa Bay has their home stadium. They win the Super Bowl. This year, the Rams have their home stadium. It's not just having the home stadium because it's a corporate event. I mean, the NFL has given tickets out to all their sponsors that advertise with them all year long. The Rams fans don't have a huge number of tickets. Bengals fans don't have a huge number of tickets in percentage basis in that stadium. But the Rams players, they get to stay in their own houses. They get to sleep in their own bed. They get to have home cooked meals by their wives and significant others. They don't have to be on the road like the Bengals are in a hotel. And when they go to the hotel, the Rams, the night before the game for the Super Bowl, it's the same hotel they go to every home game of the regular season. They have all this normalcy. The Bengals are going to have to deal with relocating, the logistics in the hotel, where the meetings are. I mean, everything that goes along with it. It's a huge advantage for the Rams. And the Bengals are going to have to deal with all of those factors, all of those variables leading up to the Super Bowl, and then pregame and halftime in the Super Bowl as well. Another big key is what we always talk about, protection, pressure. And it all starts on first and second down. The Bengals are going to have to stay ahead of the chains offensively, execute on first and second down, stay out of that third and long, because if the Rams earn the right to rush the passer, that's when Aaron Donald, Von Miller, Floyd, those guys are unleashed. On the flip side of it, the Bengals handle first and second down, get the Rams in third and long, and unleash the H-boys, Hubbard and Hendrickson, unleash them on Stafford. That's going to be a big, big key in this football game. There's no question about it. Andrew Whitworth is 40 years old. He's not the player he was physically years ago. So even though he's playing great angles, Hendrickson is going to have to shrink the pocket, the width of the pocket. I think it's going to be key. Hubbard and Hendrickson are going to have to shrink the width of the pocket on Stafford, make him step up in the pocket. They're going to have to get that interior pass rush. The interior of the Rams offensive line, they're younger, they're quicker, they're more athletic, but you're going to have to get an interior push because two things for a quarterback. Which quarterback is going to have not only time but space, like we talk about all the time? Stafford. If you give Stafford time and space and an ability to diagnose the football field and dissect it, he will rip that football, man. He can make every single throw. Joe Burrow is the same way. You got to give Joe Burrow time and space. Big deal. Let Joe Burrow survey the whole football field, dissect the whole football field, and just rip it up. I mean, which quarterback is gonna get that time and space? Which quarterback is going to feel uncomfortable? That's going to be a big deal in this football game. Joe Burrow's numbers down the stretch have been off the charts. He's playing as well as any quarterback has ever played in the National Football League at the conclusion of the regular season and into the playoffs. Matthew Stafford, like we talked about, had mixed success. 41 touchdown passes is extraordinary during the regular season. 17 interceptions, though. 41 touchdown passes among the league leaders, so 17 interceptions. He threw a bunch of them. 4 of them were pick sixes. 4 pick sixes. He fumbled the ball 5 times, lost 2 fumbles. The Rams had 5 return touchdowns against them. They had 4 pick sixes, and they had a fumble return for a touchdown against them. Will the Bengals be able to take advantage of that? In the playoffs, Matthew Stafford has cleaned his act up. I mean, he averaged an interception a game in the regular season, and then add 2 fumbles on top of it. In the playoffs, 6 touchdown passes, 1 interception in 3 games. Those are significant numbers, really good numbers. And he hasn't lost the football, hasn't put it on the ground, no fumbles, and lost any fumbles, obviously. So that's going to be a big deal. Which team will be able to pressure the quarterback, and which team will be able to handle protecting their quarterback? When you look at it, the Cincinnati Bengals allowed 55 sacks, 30th in the National Football League in total number of sacks. The Rams defense generated 50, third most in the National Football League. In the playoffs, the Bengals have allowed 12 sacks. The Los Angeles Rams have generated 5 sacks. And Donald and Von Miller have combined for 3.5. Aaron Donald has 1.5. Von Miller has 2. On the flip side of it, Los Angeles Rams only gave up 31 sacks in the regular season, tied for 6th fewest in the NFL. The Bengals generated 42 sacks, tied for 9th in the NFL. In the playoffs, the Rams have given up 5 sacks. And in the playoffs, the Bengals have generated 8 sacks defensively. The H-boys have combined for 5.5. Sam Hubbard has 3. Hendrickson has 2.5. 5.5 sacks in 3 playoff games. Come on, H-boys, get after those offensive tackles. So in the regular season, the Bengals were minus 13 sack ratio. They gave up 13 more sacks than they allowed. The Rams plus 19. They had 19 more sacks defensively than they allowed offensively. That was amongst the league leaders right there. So believe me, protection, pressure might decide the Super Bowl. I think that might be the biggest matchup in the Super Bowl. Will the Bengals' much maligned offensive line be able to handle what the Rams present defensively with that great front four and the schemes that they use? They line up in an over-under look. They'll go with 5-man defensive line looks, so they get one-on-ones with every offensive line the linemen the Cincinnati Bengals have. The Bengals do the same thing. They'll go with a 5 defensive line and get one-on-one matchups as well. Which group is going to be able to win that battle? That's going to be a massive, massive factor, I think, in the outcome of the Super Bowl. Another key, which team handles situational football the best? And by situational football, I mean sudden change. If a team does turn it over, which defense has their back? Which defense limits that opportunity to no points, makes the opposition punt, or limits it to a field goal, in the red zone if they do drive into the red zone? Who handles sudden change the best? That's been a big key to success for the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals defense has been outstanding defending sudden change, having the Bengals offenses back when they turn the football over. That's going to be a factor. red zone, goal line, which defense steps up and limits it to nothing more than a field goal opportunity or has a takeaway or stops them on downs. The Bengals have had those kind of things happen. They've had interceptions from linebackers. They've had defensive backs make tackles at the 1 yard line with 5 seconds to play. I mean, they've done an outstanding job in the red zone and in the goal on the goal line, the low red zone inside the 10 yard line. Third down, which football team is going to be able to get off the field defensively on third down? Which team is going to be able to convert and extend drives on third down? And it all boils down to avoiding 3rd and 7 or more and getting as many 3rd and 3 or less as you possibly can. Make it a manageable third down situation. Stay ahead of the chains. Who's going to execute the 2-minute drill? The Bengals have done a phenomenal job scoring points at the conclusion of the half and then the final 2 minutes of the first half. They've done an outstanding job in that area. And they haven't really given up many drives in that area. And coming out in the third quarter, first drive in the third quarter, first possession that they have in the third quarter, scoring points. The Bengals are amongst the league leaders in both of those departments. That's going to be big in this football game. There's no two ways about it. Some general keys and goals, I guess, for the defense would be hold the Rams to less than 100 yards rushing. If you do that, you're going to earn the right to rush the passer and get Stafford uncomfortable and force him to make some mistakes. You want to hit and affect the quarterback, make Matthew Stafford feel you. Make sure that he understands that you're in the vicinity and he's going to have to get rid of the football sooner than he thought. Another key is explosives. And we're talking about runs, passes, anything of 20 yards or more. Joe Burrow, Samaje Perine, they can create some explosives on the ground and in the air. Jamar Chase, we've seen his explosiveness. We've seen Tee Higgins' explosiveness, Tyler Boyd. Will the Bengals be able to generate multiple plays of 20 yards or more? In the running game, I'll take runs of 10 yards or more. In the passing game, take pass plays of 20 yards or more. Will they be able to limit the explosive for the Rams? Like I said, hold the Rams to under 100 yards rushing. And then you got Cooper Kupp and you have OBJ. You have to limit the explosives from those guys because they are capable of making big plays in the passing game. Stafford can get the football to them at any quadrant of the football field. There's no doubt about it. It's going to be massive. Who controls explosives? Who creates explosives? And then along those lines as well, who's the X factor in the passing game? Van Jefferson. Careful about Van Jefferson because this guy, Cooper Kupp, great player. OBJ, phenomenal. Van Jefferson is legit. Don't sleep on Van Jefferson. He could be the X factor in the passing game for the Rams. He may be the guy that's going to get single coverage and he's going to have to try to win, and Stafford's going to try to get him the football. Obviously, Chase and Higgins, if they start getting a lot of attention, Tyler Boyd could be the X factor in the Super Bowl. Tyler Boyd could be a big deal in the Super Bowl. Van Jefferson could be a big deal in the Super Bowl. Then let's look at the tight end position. Both of the tight ends have knee injuries, very similar knee injuries. Tyler Higbee, CJ Uzomah. Which tight end will have the biggest role? Which tight end will play? Right now, it looks like the X factor, CJ Uzomah, will be able to play. Doesn't look like Tyler Higbee is as far along as CJ Uzomah is in his rehabilitation and recovery. And I'll tell you, if CJ Uzomah is able to play in this Super Bowl, I expect him to make some significant contributions to the Cincinnati Bengals offensive passing attack. CJ Uzomah, if he's ready to roll, I think that man is going to roll.
At First Star Logistics, we're a very strict company that really puts the pressure on our employees. Breaks? What are those?
That's what I'm talking about, Icky. Get the body right, then the mind's right.
You gotta get that body right.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Become a star with a chance to earn the highest commission percentages in the industry as a freight broker agent. Check out firststarlogistics.com.